Hello everyone, welcome to another webinar session. My name is Ronnie from the SysAid Academy. Here with us today, Mr. Dan Shimoni, team leader for the customer relations.
Hi,
good to have you with us. I bet that you on the other side know maybe from phone calls or maybe the emails. Probably he's the team leader for the customer relations. And here today, he will help us to show us two main topics, right, in which we've decided to talk about regarding the asset, which are the asset dashboard and the asset availability, right?
That is right, yes.
And those two topics in which we always get questions via email service requests, even in our courses that we conduct. More information about those tools. What are those tools, how they work, how they look like. So we'll invest the time here in the webinar in order to try to together with that understand how we can take more benefit, right, from these, we can call it powerful tools, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And we are in chat, okay, like in every webinar we're in the chat. You can ask any question, you can refer to us regarding even previous webinars, okay? Any question you may have is a good channel that we have. So now tell me, asset dashboard, okay? Yes. Asset dashboard, I understand, write me if I'm wrong, but it's an application that a module in which we can see all the assets from different perspectives, right?
Yes, the asset dashboard is a new feature that came out in the last version 8.5, and it basically gives you an overview of all your assets on the network, all the ones that are monitored, all the ones that are
managed in
SysAid. Beautiful, yes, that's the right terminology. And that can be printers, it can be switches, servers, workstations, anything that is managed by SysAid. You can get a graphical overview, and in one glance you can get a lot of very important information.
That means in the other side they know the assets from when you click asset and list, right?
That is right. This is designed to basically give you just in one glance and very general overview. It's not as detailed, of course, as going to each asset separately, but it can give you very important information in a very short time.
Okay, so why don't we go into the system and try to together see?
Now, as we see, it's the home page in the asset management module.
So automatically we reach into the dashboard. We don't have to. Okay.
Exactly. Once you go to asset management, this is the home page. This is what you're gonna see, and as you can see in a very quick overview, you can get all the breakdown for the types of equipment. This is the grouping that I made for this example over here. But you have the chart over here which divides all the assets by the groups that you defined. You have the breakdown of the assets that you're interested in by the tabs, the categories that you want to look at. If it's the monitoring assets, incidents, problems and changes. You also have a section for a pie chart, which basically gives you the division in in percentages of what is the percentage of printers or workstations or servers that you have on the network relatively.
So it's another way, can we say it's another way of seeing all the assets that you have and visualize them differently, right?
Yes, you can say that. It's an overview. It's an overview that is designed to basically give you in a very short time a lot of information without actually going to each asset separately.
So what can we understand from the tree here that we see? This specific tree, which we have, we can say printer, router, server, switch, all the different types.
So in this example over here, let's take this one. We can see that all the assets over here are divided by types. We have the printers, we have the router, this case, we have a couple of servers, a couple of switches, and the workstations. This division is done by, this grouping is done by an asset type, but it can be grouped by other parameters as well. We're going to see that in a minute, but if we check for the main category, which is the asset management, and look at the visual graph over here, we get a graph that basically gives us the overview of all the network, the way it is divided, and the assets that we have. If we can also, of course, play with it and then get the best view that is convenient for us.
So the graph that we see here actually changes according to the information that we have in the tree itself.
We'll see it in a minute as well. We can change it not only to one main category, we can actually add a subcategory which can add another view that can help us even get more detailed information.
I see. So you can see whether you can play with the graph, move it around.
Absolutely. That just to make it more convenient. This example over here is supposed to simulate a network a production network, but of course in a real network you have much more assets. So this is very important that you can play with and design it the way you want for a convenient view. Another thing that I would like to mention, that if you do not want to look at the whole asset management but only by a specific category, you can click that specific category and get the view for, let's say, only the workstations. So in this case we have 5 workstations, and in case we have 200 or 300 or 400 or whatever it is, it gets of course much more crowded over here, so it's important where you can play with it.
I see. For example, if we click in printers, then it will show me all the printers in the graph that I have.
Exactly.
Exactly. And how can I enlarge again? I saw that you did it by clicking there, enlarge. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
You enlarge and you play with great.
Yeah, it's a very nice feature to have. And let me show you how we do a subgrouping. Let's add another parameter. Let's try the operating system, for instance, as a subcategory.
That means we divide by. Can you go again to the same window?
Yes, sure. Let's go and take a look at it.
So we have here, first of all, at the beginning, we have existing views that come default when we install SysAid. Is that correct?
Right. We have 2 views when we install SysAid, which is servers and network devices and all assets. These are default views that we have.
So we can, even if you installed in this minute, finish to install SysAid, you can start working with the dashboard. That means we don't have to now start configuring and creating. That means we already have information.
That is correct, and configuring this is very easy. It's very friendly to use. It's again, it's a very general view, but it's supposed to give us all the very important, very necessary, and the immediate information that we need to monitor our network. Also, it can give us some statistic information and so on. But you can create. Let's create another view. Let's create another view for the sake of example over here. Let's create a view called webinar, and categorize it by type and subcategory of operating systems. So here we can see the new category, the new view that we just created. Mm-hmm. Of course, this does not really apply for printers and routers and switches that do not have any operating systems. But as we can see, if we click the servers over here, enlarge it a little bit for a better view, we can see that it gave us one category, which is servers, and it divided it also for a subcategory, which is operating systems. So in this case, we have the Windows 2003 R2 and we have Windows 2003 Server Enterprise Edition.
How can we see in the graph which one is the... by putting the mouse in the icon itself, you can see that it says Windows Server 2003 R2. Okay, and the other one should be the 2003, the Enterprise.
Exactly. If we hover over, if we hover over the asset, we can see the more detailed information about it.
So we have one asset of each type of operating system.
So in this case, we have the main category, which is the servers. We have the subcategory, which is the operating systems. And over here we have the asset name, which we identify it by. We can see another example to understand it a little bit better by clicking workstations. Let's enlarge it a little bit to get a better view. So in this case we have
Windows 7.
Exactly, we have the main category, which is workstations, and then we have the division for the operating systems, the subcategory, Windows 7. So we have 4 Windows 7 workstations, and then we have another one, Windows Vista, only one machine.
So 4 machines of 7 and 1 of Vista.
Exactly. So this is an example of how you can divide it to subcategories, group it by 2 parameters, and get a better, more specific view of what you're looking for. This can be, of course, divided also for locations or departments or anything that you want to focus on at that moment.
What about the pie chart?
The pie chart over here can give us information again by category that we check. Let's check type because it's the clearest one in this example. So we can see how many printers we have on the network and what is the percentage from the total assets that we have on this network. We can divide it by memory and get a pie chart of the memory. Now this can help us, let's say, if we choose only the workstations and we would like to see how many workstations do we have with different amounts of memory, divided by the percentage, by the relative percentage on the network.
So what we can understand from here is that in workstations we have one computer which has 8,000 megabytes, 8 gigabytes, 2 computers which have 4, another one of 8, 64, another one of 2. Okay.
Exactly. If we would like to, let's say, upgrade our network to and see how many additional memory we need for specific workstations, this view can definitely help us. Same goes for servers. In this view we have only a couple of servers, so it can give us, we can see it a little bit clearer.
Now, I have a question about, I saw at the beginning when you showed all the assets in the graph, that we have some assets that have different icon color, right?
That is right. That is another very cool feature that I personally like very much. Let's get a whole view for the asset management, and let's enlarge it for a better view. As I said before, this particular feature is designed for you to get all the information, all the immediate information that you need, really in one glance, very quickly and very efficiently. These 2 assets over here, which have a background color, basically represent assets that are being monitored by us. The monitoring is set for these 2 assets, and we have one that is red and we have one that is green. The red one is an asset that we have either an alert on it, a warning, or it indicates basically that there is something going on that asset and it triggered a monitoring alert.
I see. So I remember even I have the previous webinar when we talk about monitoring, in which for the admins on the other side, important that if you want to see the previous webinars, go into our YouTube channel, okay, write SysAid and then enter into our channel. There you'll have all the webinars. In one of the webinars, we talked with Joseph, and he explained about the monitoring. That write me if I'm wrong, but you can create different rules for the assets to be monitored. And receive alerts according to a specific rule. For example, hard disk capacity, CPU usage. So the asset management actually is taking those alerts and is showing them here in the graph with different background color.
That is exactly right. Let's even go further and look at the servers group over here. So we see that the SQL 2000 machine has a couple of alerts over here. So if I hover over the color, I see that there is one warning. That means that it got to a threshold that I defined earlier in the monitoring module as a warning. And the second one over here is already an error. That means that it already reached the second threshold, which indicates that something is really wrong. There is something that needs some immediate attention. The asset over here in the graph is gonna be colored in red, either if it's a warning or if it's an actual error.
Mm-hmm.
We can also go into the monitor itself, and it can give us a graphical overview of the resources, or what actually triggered the alert and when.
Mm-hmm.
If I go specifically on one machine, I can even minimize it even further. This one is right now on servers, but I can minimize it and focus on one particular machine. Let's say this machine right now over here, SQL 2000, and go to the servers as a whole group.
Mm-hmm. So the 2000 from the group has a specific warning.
Exactly.
Okay. What are the different options that we see? Assets, incidents.
So if I check for the servers category, for instance, I would like to see all the assets that I have over here in this group. So it gives me a list, and I can go to each asset and see all its information. I can see all the incidents that are related to that specific group, or if I want to see specific incidents that are connected, that are related to the particular asset, I can go by asset as well. Same goes for workstations. In this case, we do not have any incidents because this is a demo environment.
I see. So the asset management, we can say that actually is a tool that, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can see from different perspective an overview of all the assets that you have. We talked about it, but with the explanation that you gave me in the system, it also has connections to different modules, right, within SysAid.
That is correct.
That means with one click we can see the incidents, with other click we can see the monitoring, with other click we can see the asset itself.
And the asset itself, of course.
The asset itself. So that is actually the main idea that we wanted to have in this specific module. That means have one central place in which we can reach different sides of the specific asset that we are looking.
That is exactly right. Again, a visual overview, really for like very quick access, very quick to see what's like in this example that we gave right now with the monitoring. If I would like to just, of course, in the monitoring module, you get notifications and alert. You can get them by email, you can get them by SMS and so on. But if you want to come in the morning and just open SysAid and just take a quick look at this dashboard and see what threw out an alert, if it's a warning, if it's an error, on which machines, on which groups, you can again focus in specific groups, specific assets, and it's all you can group them very easily by predefined parameters. You can define a few views.
And the idea actually is to give these tools that give you a plus. That means to encourage. That means in the other side to try and use these different tools that give you that extra information or that another type of perspective to see the information that you see. And again, try it. Okay, that's our recommendation from us to you. Try to configure it. Try to have it, play with it for a week, 2 weeks to see how it goes. And also with the next tool that we will talk about, which is we call it a simple tool, right? A simple tool, but also important that we want to bring and show what is important, which is the asset availability.
That is right. It's a very simple, basic feature, but it can give us a lot of important information. It can make our management a little bit more efficient. We can take a quick look at it maybe to see what we're talking about over here. If we go to asset availability, this is supposed to basically give us the downtimes for specific machines that we enable this feature for. Like in this example over here, we have two, you can call it alerts as well, because it basically gives us information that the machine was down at a specific time and for how long.
So availability means that this small tool checks if the asset is available, and if not, when, right, in the specific time range.
Exactly. As you can see over here, in this chart you can define the time range that you want to look at. In this case right now it's 24 hours, and we have a couple of assets over here that this feature is enabled on, and this each one of these assets went down sometime like today, and for a very short time, for only a few seconds, but it still recorded it. This means that the machine was probably restarted, came back right away, but it still recorded it, even it was only for a few seconds.
So if I have an asset in my inventory, in my network, and the asset goes down when I'm sleeping, okay, for example from 3 in the morning till 5 in the morning, then when I come next day, I should see here that the asset was down for 2 hours and went back up again.
Exactly. So if we spoke about the monitoring previously, on top of the alert that you'll receive that the asset was down, you will also be able to see for how long it was down, exactly at what time. And this can be, you know what, I can give you another example where this feature can come handy. Let's say for servers they use, it's very obvious because servers have to be up all the time, and you do want to see when they are down to maybe focus on some issue that is going on your network at any given time. But let's say you have a few hundreds of workstations and you want them to be at least hibernating when they are off hours to save electricity and so on. You can, by this feature, instead of the downtime, you can see when they are going down and if they are going down. And if they are not going down, let's say when it's off hours, you can go to that machine and see why. So it can go both ways. You can see you can focus in the downtime and you can focus in the uptime. You can choose.
I see, and to know at night what is happening in the office, right? If the servers are up, the servers are down, and of course, after you receive the information to analyze why it's going up, why it's going down. You want it to go up or down. So here we see the list of all the assets that had a specific downtime, right?
Exactly. If we go into the asset, we can get a more detailed information for that specific asset. As you can see over here, we have the checkbox that enables this feature. We have the times that it was down. We can, of course, define the range over here if we want only for this particular 24 hours, the last 24 hours, the previous week. We can take it for much longer ranges of time. Let's say I can give you another example where this feature can come handy. Let's say that you do know as a fact that a certain asset, a certain server is going down every night. It happens, and you suspect that a certain process that is going on at night triggers it. And you want to focus a little bit more on which one is doing that, so you can see the exact time and you can see how long did it take it to come back on, and maybe to focus. It could be backup, it could be some kind of an agent running overnight. It can help you focus a little bit more about what triggers that shutdown.
That shutdown. Now, this tool, is coming by default disabled, right? We have to enable it in order to work.
That is true, and let me show you another way to enable this. Let's say we would like to enable it on a certain workstation. So in the asset list, we go to that specific workstation, and we go to the availability tab and just click enable tracking for this asset. Of course, okay. And from now on, this asset is gonna be tracked by this feature, and if it will go down, meaning it's not going to be available. It doesn't have to be shut down, even if it hibernates, even if it goes to sleep, let's say off hours. It's going to give you an indication over here.
I see. So by default, we can see that now we triggered. We don't have any information available because we just started, and seems like that asset is online right now.
Absolutely, that is right. And you can also reset the time that you want to monitor from. Let's say you have this feature enabled for the previous week, and you want to reset all the information. You want to reset the history, so you can update the uptime percentage. You can reset it from here, and it's going to start from that moment to monitor.
I see. So we talked about two tools: the asset dashboard, in which we can see an overview from a different perspective, and we talked about this nice tool, the availability, in which give us information about what is happening in the night, not necessarily in the night, but what is happening when we're not there, if the service is on, if the service is off. And we give example of knowing, first of all, if we have a maintenance process at night that is dropping servers. For example, can we say if we want to implement the server live, we can use this tool to first of all test if the server for a week is up, right? And then implement it live to see if we have electrical problems in the server. So we can say that it's a small but a powerful tool. Gives you very interesting information about what is happening in the assets.
Absolutely, it can make your job easier, which is why it's SysAid. But why we have SysAid? And
that's what we say in every webinar. When you buy SysAid, you buy a worker in your IT department. Dan, thank you very much for being here. That was very, very, very interesting. And hopefully the admins in DataSet will more and more use this asset dashboard and the asset availability. And of course, we're here for any question that you may have. And let us know what you think. Okay, like in every webinar, we want to if you can invest the 2-3 minutes, we have I think 2-3 questions in the survey to know what you think, and also to give your ideas for next webinars, interesting topics that you want us to go over and talk about them. So again, Dan, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And admins, we'll see you next month, right? We'll talk about another interesting topic, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.